Hey everybody, Randy Turpin here. I'm coming to you from Middle Tennessee. It's where I live now. And recently some of you have reached out to, have contacted asking the question, have you ever considered getting into ham radio? What on earth is Randy Turpin talking about now? And no, I'm not trying to sell you. I'm not trying to sell you something. No, it's my motivations are much more noble than that, I believe. So, many of you have not seen since high school. Some of you might not ever met ever before. I mean, it depends on how this video gets forwarded. I'm preparing this right now as a private or unlisted YouTube video, mainly because when I asked the question, have you ever considered getting into ham radio? I get all kinds of questions that I have to keep giving the same answers over and over again. So I thought, I might as well prepare a little video to explain why I'm even asking the question and to offer some suggestions for how you might want to get involved if you want to. I mean, actually, this is what I plan to cover in this short video. Number one, why I'm asking you the question in the first place. Secondly, what the benefits might be to becoming a ham radio operator. Thirdly, what I'm personally doing in pursuit of my first level of licensing. See, I'm not even a ham operator yet. Right now, it's just an area of interest that I'm seriously pursuing, and I'll talk more about that and how you can do the same if you want to. So what I'm personally doing in pursuit of the first level of licensing, what we might do together, which is a large motivation for why I'm reaching out to you, what we might do together if you decide to get into this as well, and what the practical steps are, for you to get involved. Okay, let's just cover these. I don't think this would take too long. Why am I asking you the question? Have you ever considered getting into ham radio? Well, I've decided to take the journey into this, and I just think it'd be a lot more fun, enjoyable, if other people were on this journey with me. Now, I know I could probably join a local ham club or something like that here in their area. We certainly have those kind of things in the community that I live in, but it just hit me that, wait a minute, I've got a whole circle of old friends and acquaintances from years past that I really would love to reconnect with. So I'm asking the question because I think it'd be more fun to take the journey with somebody else with me on it. And if you're receiving this, for many of you, if you're receiving this video, you're receiving it because you are a friend of mine from back in our Glenwood, Princeton, West Virginia days. From the 1970s and on back, many of you, okay? Some of you watching this, you may not be from that particular circle, but that was my initial motivation, was to try to reconnect with some friends that I haven't seen really since high school. And I think that, I'm not going to give his last name just for privacy reasons here on YouTube and online, but our mutual friend, for some of you, a mutual friend, Terry, who recently passed away. When he passed, it got me thinking a lot about a lot of my friends from way back, thinking, life is short, really. And if I'm ever going to connect with people that I truly cared about back in those days, I better do it now. I'm not trying to prophesy short life for any of you or anything, but anyway, when a friend dies, it makes you think about your own mortality, and how we need to maximize on the time we've been given. And so I was motivated some by that, and besides, I was a CBer back in the 70s, and I'm sorry, I'm just watching some heavy equipment come down the road. Hope that doesn't drown out our communication here. Anyway, I was a CB. If my grandson were here, he would have a blast right now watching this. Anyway, back in the 1970s, I was into CB radio, and even back then, I was kind of had a dream of someday getting into ham radio. But I never did. I mean, for several reasons. Number one, you had to learn Morse code back in those days. Now they call it CW, which stands for continuous wave. I've learned that recently. I don't know why they just don't call it Morse code. But you don't have to learn that anymore, okay? But that was kind of a roadblock before. I didn't want to take that on. I probably could have done it, but it just seemed like it wasn't a priority for me. The expense of it's kind of expensive equipment and all of that, and it was an unknown world. And it was just before I was getting ready to go off to college. And once you go off to college, then I got into ministry and years of ministry. I mean, just other things took the priority. But now that I'm actually retired from pastoring, I'm still working, doing other things for in the realm of education. But it just wasn't it wasn't high enough of a priority. It was an interest back in those early days, but not high enough of a priority for me to take the dive back then. So what you're seeing with me right now is kind of the merging of a lifelong dream to do this, combined with a desire to reconnect with old friends. And so if you're getting this, that means I consider you a friend from way back. I don't want to call you an old friend. I'm not saying you're old. It's just that our connections are from way back. I try to not use old terminology in my life as it relates to me and the people around me. Anyway, so what are the benefits to becoming a ham operator? I'm still studying this out. I'm a novice at this. I haven't even got my license yet. I did just get my radio though, and I'll tell you why I'm starting with a handheld radio and not a base station. For starters, that makes it a lot more affordable, for one thing, to get in. But what are the benefits? People get into this for all kinds of reasons. Emergency preparation in case the whole power grid and everything were to drop. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing this. Yeah, I was one of the Y2Kers back when that was going on. The prepping for the possibility of disaster and things that take us off the electrical grid and things like that. You just pays to be ready, right? So and here where we are, we have tornadoes. We have tornado warnings here all the time. And so there have been times my wife and I were in the basement waiting for that thing to pass, and how I wish I had an emergency radio. Well, there are emergency channels built right into this, plus the emergency responders and people like that. You can track what's going on with them. That's part of a motivation, to be into this. But to be honest with you, I just think it looks fun. Do I have to have another reason? My wife has been after me for a long time. I'm married to a wonderful woman, but she's always concerned about my well-being and my health. And she said, "You need some hobbies." I said, "Honey, I've got hobbies." You see, in my work, I'm into writing and research and teaching. I'm on the computer a lot in the work that I do, okay? Well, my hobbies look like my work. I'm into genealogy. I love to write stories. I love to write things. I write and research for a living. I write and research as a hobby. How many of you know that's probably not healthy? It's best to have a hobby that's more of a diversion. I've never been into fishing, believe it or not. Most people, after they retire, they like to go fishing. I don't have the patience for it. God bless you if you're into fishing. So yeah, fun way to reconnect. It's just something outside of my box. I've never done anything quite like this before. And I think it's going to stretch me. It's going to be healthy for me, learning something new. So let me just share with you what I'm doing right now in preparation for this first level of ham operating license. It's called technician's level. There are 3 levels: technician, general, and I think it's just called advanced, a third one or something like that. And you can do the kinds of stuff that I'm wanting to do with you guys and gals. You can do that with the technician's license. You don't ever have to progress any further than that, really. Even if that's all you did was just get your technician's license, you can do all the basic stuff. You just have some limits as to which frequencies you can be on. But I'll probably go as far as general. I don't anticipate going on to advanced. I mean, when you get into advanced, I think you're building things like radio towers and building your own transceivers and stuff like that. I'm just not interested in getting that deeply into the electronics. So, yeah. So what I'm doing right now, got my radio, as I said, and just got it yesterday, unboxed it. I haven't even turned it on yet. You definitely are not supposed to push this button here. That's the keying button to transmit. You don't do that until you get your license. But I got my radio now because I want to be listening to how these guys talk. Do you realize that they don't talk all the 10 codes that we used to use back in our CB days? They don't use the 10 codes. I thought maybe they did. They don't. They don't say 10-4. They say Roger. When I was a kid, one of my uncles was into ham radio. I was a little kid at the time. And he had a tower in his backyard and everything. And I heard him, he kept saying Roger. I thought he was talking to some boy named Roger. Anyway, but yeah, it's a different lingo. It's a little more, can I use the word sophisticated, I guess, than the CB lingo. But I'll upgrade to a base station at the appropriate time when I feel like I'm ready for that. But a lot of what I need to do, I can do right from this. Do you realize they have, because this is relatively low wattage, about 5 to 8 watts that I can transmit with this. And, you know, that can get out a few miles pretty clearly. But the way that it will enable me to communicate with you, I'll be able to communicate with what's called a repeater. It's a repeater. It's like a station that will then relay my signal through a whole network of relays across the nation. And that's the way that we will be enabled to communicate with one another, is that through that whole system of repeaters is what they call them, okay? And I don't understand how it all works, but we'll share our insights on that along the way if you decide to jump in. What else am I doing right now? I'm already studying for the test. I'm studying for that test. And the test will consist of 35 questions. You take it, I think you have to take it in person. We actually find some place local to you that administers it. And there's certified people that administer the test. And you take the test. The test costs, get this, $15 is the test. And then once you pass the test, the license is $35. And I think you renew it once every 10 years. Can you see how affordable this is? I mean, but I got this in a packet of 2 radios for under $60. So what I'm saying to you is you can get into this hobby for under $100. If I'd known that, I would have done this a long time ago. I kind of imagine you had to get into this deeply into hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars to even get started, but it's much more reasonable and reachable than I had thought. Well, what might we do together if you choose to get into this with me? Yeah, and I'll say again, I'm not making money on this. This is not, I don't really gain anything other than more of your friendship and connection with you by you getting involved, okay? But what might we do together? Well, while we are pursuing getting our licenses, pursuing purchasing our radios, pursuing just understanding this new world, we can help and encourage one another. See, I plan to will start, of course, this is a YouTube video that I'm posting on my already existing page, but I'm thinking about, after I get my license, forming a dedicated YouTube channel where we just share insights about all of this. And, you know, we can just be back and forth in the comments and all of that. And you can always text me. And when I get my license, I'm going to have a dedicated email address that is just for radio use. We'll can share insights back and forth that way as well. Plus, once we finally get our licenses and we're actually talking to one another, as we're continuing to grow in this field, we'll continue to encourage one another as we're talking online. Not online, they don't call it online, on the radio. And we can establish our own network. Because of the repeaters, we'll establish a network. I think they call it a net. You know, I don't know what we'll call it. At first I thought Glenwood 73 because a lot of us left Glenwood Junior High School in the year of 73. But some of you are not just from Glenwood, you're from Princeton and all of that. So we'll need to talk back and forth about a name for our network. And it's helpful to have a name for it because you actually reference it in some of the, like when you give out your call sign. Well, how can you get involved? Well, you can access some free resources for study. And as I said, the test is going to be 35 questions, but they give you can access the pool of questions. There's 400 questions that you study in preparation for the 35 that they're going to randomly select out of that pool of 400, okay? So, and you only have to get 26 of the 35 questions correct in order to pass it. But, and there's study materials. You want to do more than just study for the test. You want to study to understand, all right? These are free resources, by the way, free. I like free. I don't know about you, but I really like free. Hamstudy.org, hamstudy.org, and another site is hambook.org, hambook.org. Now, both of those are good places to go to prepare for the test, all right? And another thing you do, and I do this a lot, I use artificial intelligence to learn about things. I used to just Google stuff or look up stuff on YouTube. I still do some of that, but most of my inquiries are through chats with ChatGPT. And if you got questions about how all of this works, just directly ask questions. You'll be amazed what a free account of ChatGPT can give you for information about the ham radio world. Let's see what else. Well, I'm just communicating in this video because it's the easiest way to explain everything all at once without having to repeat myself again and again every time somebody wants me to explain how this stuff works. So, all right, it's getting louder and louder here. I hope you've been able to hear my audio. Man, the heavy equipment is in. What are they doing? They're not going to jig up my front yard, are they? No, they're actually doing something at my neighbor's house across the road here. All right. Okay, folks, we'll talk more later on. God bless you.